And hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality. Today I'm going to be decoding, finally, Back to the Future Part 2. And I appreciate all of you that have returned to this channel to watch this. Your support is greatly appreciated. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please keep an open mind, folks. If you're here, you're supposed to be here. If you understand how this matrix works, then you understand this is part of your destiny. And you know, if you can take just one thing away from this presentation to help your life to figure things out, then it was well worth your time. I promise you that your time that you invest in this video will be extremely well worth your time. The story goes with this, folks. I mean, I could have did a 5-hour presentation on this. It's just so deep. There's a reason why this guy was meant to look like that guy. And it's very possible that this guy, folks, is really from the future. Now, I mean, if you can wrap your head around that and be open to possibilities on that, you might begin to see some things that you never saw before. I mean, is it possible that they created this movie to really tell us the truth? Just obviously not straight in our face. And you know, the story is, this guy is the younger version. This is Biff Tannen. He goes back into the past, his older self, and gives his younger self a sports almanac which has all the outcomes of all the sports for decades. And of course he changes his whole entire life. He becomes this tycoon. I mean, is that possible, changing and creating alternate timelines, as Doc Brown says in the movie? And then, you know, what does that indicate, and what does that really tell us about what's going on in our matrix? Well, I'm going to show you this. So here we go, folks. Keep an open mind. My methods of decoding are very simple. This may look a little complex. If you're here for the first time, just follow the breadcrumbs. Don't try to confuse it. We use numerology. Donald John Trump is the number 66 in its overall total numerology. The second part is we link that to the elements of the periodic table, real science, because we can measure things with that, and those gives us number outcomes, which we can link to other things, such as theology. There's 66 books in the Bible, matching that of the 66th element, matching that of his full birth name. And we're going to get into theology because it has everything to do with Back to the Future. Donald is a 24. That's linked to the element chromium, and then we want to bring in another layer. We bring in the cards of illumination. These are part of the 52 cards of a typical poker deck or blackjack deck. 52 cards matching the 52 weeks. There's 4 suits matching the 4 seasons. Extremely accurate. So the 24 from Donald is linked to chromium. Think Google Chrome, Adrenochrome. And then it's linked to the 24th card, the Jack of Clubs. Well, Jack Clubs is also a 24. So the numerology of Jack Clubs is a direct match of the 24th card in its lineage. Going back to the 66, in the tarot, another layer we can observe from, the 66th card in the lineage, in one of the lineages, there's several, is the 3 of Pentacles. The cousin card of that, in the cards of illumination, is the 3 of Diamonds. Diamonds means pentacles. These little discs right here. And, you know, this is Donald John Trump's birthday card. So, we're going to get into that, folks. But, hear what I said. June 14th, 3 of Diamonds. That's his birthday card, and his name equals 66, and 66 is linked to the cousin of the 3 of Diamonds. Very strong tie-ins here, folks. Done on purpose. Will everybody's life be that way? No, it won't. But I think when you fix things, when you change reality, when you maybe are a time traveler, well, things become stronger. Donald Trump, this is what he goes by. President Donald Trump. He doesn't put the John in there, so we can observe it this way. But notice the chromium aspect. 24. He's got a double 24, but it's chromium. This is the actual picture that the Royal Society of Chemistry, if I go back right here and show you, here's chromium. This is the picture they chose. I don't know why they chose that. I mean, it's a skull with wings. You know? Skull with wings. But nonetheless, look at the tie-ins to this, folks. Chromium is derived from the Greek word chroma. It's right here. You see? See that right there? There's a clue. Anything in parentheses, you can decode it. But of course, you got to go to Greek and you got to decode that. Here is the Greek numerology of the word chroma. This is how you spell it. It becomes a 76, and this is where the other layers come in, folks. Now we want to do true alchemy, because here are the elements of the periodic table that match up with the single letters of the word chroma. Titanium, chlorine, chromium, magnesium, and hydrogen. 22, 17, 24, 12, and 1. And then we go over here to the trusty calculator, and we want to add those up. And the total we get is 159.851. 159 is the big standout. And 159 is the big standout because it's a direct link to the 66th element, dysprosium. That's its weight, one of its weights. And as I already mentioned, Donald John Trump equals 66, which matches the protons in dysprosium. This is what that means. It has 66 protons. So you see that, look at this match. 66 becomes 159. 66 becomes 159. But that 159 comes from the word chroma in the Greek, which comes from 24, which comes from Donald and Trump. Now, I want to just digress and say that your last name is something you can separate in numerology. You can measure that separately because you were not given that last name, you were inherited it. So it comes from a lineage that goes probably centuries upon centuries back. No one really knows where your last name came from. You probably don't even know where it came from. But it tells a story, but you can separate that. And then remember, Jack of Clubs. Jack of Clubs is the 24th card. So there's direct tie-ins with this guy with the Jack of Clubs, which is the knight on the chessboard. Let's keep going. What about Biff Tannen? Because that's who this guy is. That's resembling this guy. Well, Biff Tannen through alchemy right here. It's a 10-letter word. We go over to the trusty calculator. We get the number 91.057. 91 is a big standout because that equals the number 33 when we say 9-1. Most of you know what the 33 is. Crucifixion, path to enlightenment, vertebrae in your spine. That means mastermind. 33 means mastermind. And then the 33rd card in the deck on the tarot is the Knight of Wands. And that's the cousin of the Jack of Clubs, because Knight means Jack and Wands means clubs. So again, we go right back to the 24 again, which was right here. I mean, it's just all connected. It's all connected, folks. So these are strong tie-ins right here. You see that? Don't forget about the 57. Look, focus on that 57. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to show you that through this presentation. It has significance to all this. And here it is. Here's one piece of it. It's just one piece. I have another one that's going to rock your world. The two main people responsible for this series is Robert Lee Zemeckis, producer / director, I believe, and then Michael Robert Gale, the screenplay writer of this movie. Now, Zemeckis said in Wikipedia, or on Wikipedia, I don't know if it's true, but this is what it says on Wikipedia, he wasn't going to do part 2 unless Gale was going to be the writer of it. And of course, they joined forces again, but look at their outcomes, folks. This guy was born on May 14th, Zemeckis, and then Gale was born on May 25th. 11 days apart. 11's the number of magic. They're both born in the month of May. But look at their cards, folks. May 14th, the 5 of diamonds. May 25th, the 7 of clubs. That's card 20 and card 31. When you take 20 and 31 and you put them together and add it up, you get the number 51. That's the element antimony. That's important because 121 is one of the weights of antimony, and the numerology of these two guys, their birthdays, their names, their full names on their birth certificates, end up equaling the number 121. So you see, 121 of their names matches that of their cards, matches that of the element antimony. But remember the 57. Remember I said there's the 57. Linked to the Biff Tannen. Let's go a little bit further. Antimony is a total of 28 numerology. Here it is right here. When we do the alchemy of antimony, it's an 8-letter word. Here are the elements that link to the digits here of antimony. We go over to the trusty calculator and we get a total of 57.069. Of course, on the feminine side, we get the yin-yang. On the masculine, we get the 5-7 again. So antimony through alchemy is a 57. Once again, matching that of their birth cards, folks. The 57. Remember, their names through numerology equal 121. That's antimony. Antimony through numerology and alchemy becomes 57. I have nickel here because nickel's the 28th element, and antimony equals 28. But nickel's weight is 57, and antimony through alchemy is 57. So they're a direct hit, direct match. Directly linked together. And of course, if you understand what nickel is, it's called devil's copper. Notice the word devil. And it's linked to Old Saint Nick. Probably heard that before. Let's keep going. 1.21 gigawatts was the amount of power needed to get the DeLorean to time travel. It's in a bolt of lightning, as in electricity. Electricity. And, antimony through English is 111, and that's a direct match of 1.21 gigawatts. That's 111. And remember, these guys, through their names in numerology, end up becoming the element antimony. So antimony is linked to the 111, which is linked to the 1.21 gigawatts. So you see these guys, and that's what I'm saying, life, the game of life is rigged, it's fixed. These guys were born to meet. They were destined to meet and join forces to create this movie to tell us exactly what's going on in our Matrix reality. Shifting gears into the movie itself, this was a scene when Marty McFly is at the very end. This guy comes out and delivers an envelope to him. He's handing it to him. And this is when Doc Brown disappears by getting struck by a bolt of lightning and just the DeLorean disappearing. But his name was the Western Union Man. He pulls up in a car, right? This is the scene right here. Marty McFly, Doc Brown just disappears. The bolt of lightning zaps the DeLorean. He's gone. And then Marty McFly turns around and there's this car that pulls up. Look at the number or the letter that's on the front of the car. The letter W. You can see the lion in the back. That has significance too, but the letter W. Western Union Man. Now they'll say, well, yeah, it's the Western Union Man. Well, his name's Trenchcoat, if you go research it. Trenchcoat equals the number 39. 39 is important because that is tied to the element yttrium. Notice its only atomic weight is 88.906. Icing on the cake, it's the yin-yang, but it's the 88, the number of time travel. And Doc Brown just disappeared by getting struck by a bolt of lightning, the DeLorean. He's gone. And this guy shows up. His name's Trenchcoat. What does the W have to do with it? Notice, again, here's the letter Y. That's really important. What does the W have to do with it? Like right here. Why the W? You could say, well, it's the Western Union Man. That means Western Union. Well, where's the U? That's just a W right here, folks. What does the W have to do with anything? It's linked to the crown, folks. The 23rd English letter is the letter W, and the 23 is linked to the word crown. Linked to a lot of other things, but if you haven't seen my video on the decoding of the letter W, please check it out. It'll make a lot more sense. So we know this means crown right here, folks. That's who pulls up. The crown pulls up to deliver this guy a message, and it's all linked to time travel. What about the why here? Here's the actual ending scene of when the DeLorean grabs the rod coming down. And of course, here's the fire left over from the bolt of lightning that comes down, sends the DeLorean off into time, and this is in the shape of a letter Y. I mean, I see that as a letter Y, which is right here. And, let's not forget the flux capacitor. What is that in the shape of? Letter-wise. I mean, there it is. I mean, this is Doc Brown holding out this is where Mercedes, by the way, if you've seen the car Mercedes, that's where they got their symbol from. It's the flux capacitor. It's giving tribute, folks, to the letter Y. And, one of the animals on this planet that has that coming out of their mouth is the serpent or the lizard. The lizard, they have a Y coming out of their mouths. That's the shape of their tongue, the Y. Lizard. Anyway, the flux is what made time travel possible. Flux through the two ciphers here is a 63, which is a direct match of YHVH. Notice the Y, the Yod-He, the ancient Israelite god, the Yod-He-Vah-He, the YHVH. Well, it's the Y that stands out. It's the Yod-He, the Y, the Y. And then, of course, 22 through the Chaldean is linked to alchemy. Alchemy means change. The word change also equals the number 22. How about this photograph right here? This is the CERN. This is inside CERN, and you'll notice here's the letter. You can see the letter Y right there. I mean, it's right there. This is actually probably more of a rendition of your eyeball. This would be the pupil. This would be the pupil. And I mean, there's 8 of these, if you count those. There's a lot of symbology in here from a macro to micro level. You just got to look for it. And you notice how big it is. I mean, here's the guy right there. It's massive. But, there's another rendition of it. What about the sports almanac? I mean, this is really what defined the movie because, and I have a friend. Thank you, Aaron, for all your decoding contributions. But Aaron had, theorized. He says, hey, I can prove to you all. I can show you the sports. They're rigged, and I see the patterns, and I agree with him. But is it possible that someone really did take an almanac from the future and bring it back to the past to then determine the outcomes? And then, of course, that's the organization that runs sports. It's not out of the question, folks. It's not out of the question. And, keep in mind, this is another standout I didn't even bring in, but this is 50 years, 1950 to 2000. That's 50 years. 50 is related to the element tin, and that's 119, and that's linked to krypton, which is linked to the lizard and reptilian. And let's not forget grays, as in the alien grays. Grays is a 10. 10 is linked to the crown. 10 Downing Street in the United Kingdom. That's the government of the Great Britain. 10 Downing Street. 10 is a very big number. Well, grays is a 10, and through alchemy, folks, the 5 letters that it is, we go over to the trusty calculator, it becomes 20.051. Of course, there's your antimony again. 5-1 is your antimony. And then you have 2-0. Well, when you say that, 20051, right there through numerology, becomes 96, which is the yin-yang, which means it's completely balanced. It's a completely balanced black and white number, or numbers. 20051. I have this here because in the English, it's 70, and if you follow the digits of pi, 70 is located at the 96th decimal digit of pi. How about that? What about the tarot cards linked to the 20 and the 51? Well, here they are. The 20th card in the tarot is the Judgment card. The 51st card, the last card, is the King of Swords. And if you say that, Judgment, King of Swords, get the number 88. The number of time travel. Talking about grays. Aliens. This is a scene from the ending. I already showed you the Western Union man, but this is when Marty's looking up and Doc's just about ready to get struck by lightning, the DeLorean that is, and he disappears. But notice in the background, it's Lion Estates, and Lion Estates, there's a lot of symbology and there's a lot of tie-ins to this. But when we do the alchemy, the 11 letters that it is, and we go over to the trusty calculator, I mean, look at the outcome of this, folks. I mean, you tell me that this is all hogwash. And I'm just trying to fit things where they don't belong. And to make it, to even cement this, because you got two different outcomes, an 88 and a 118, but when you come over and say that, 88, 118, well, that becomes an 88. Let's shift gears now. This is in the middle of the movie at some point, and here's, the younger Marty McFly, and he's in the kitchen with his family, and look at the number on his sunglasses, or the glasses he's wearing. Obviously done on purpose, because they wouldn't have put it there. You could have picked any number. Any number. Well, why are they picking 57? Well, because it's tied to this element right here, Lanthanum. Why is that one important? Because of this guy right here. Stick with me. I'm going to show you what I mean by Trump being linked to Lanthanum. Now, the name is derived from the Greek word that means to lie hidden. That's what it means. And here it is in the Greek. It ends up becoming the mirror of the 57, the 75. So this word in Greek is right here, and it's 75, the mirror of the 57. And it means to lie hidden. Now just to support that, here it is right here. See, it's right here, folks. And notice the picture, a lens, a camera lens, like it's like observing you all the time. A lot of links to this right here, folks. To lie hidden. And how's Trump connected to this? Well, let's keep going. The word diabolos in the Greek, which means devil, also shares the number 75, which is a direct match of Lanthanum in the Greek. Now I have this right here, the LA and the RE. Here's the LA, the abbreviation. Well, where's the RE come into play? And notice the 47, that's tetragrammaton. Right here. The 75th element is rhenium, which is the mirror of the 57. Which again is linked to diabolos and the Greek spelling of Lanthanum, which, again, folks, use your common sense. Its meaning is to lie hidden. And that's where we get into this right here. This was, to me, this is it right here, folks. This, I don't need anybody else to really assure me of anything at this point. Here is his complete alchemical breakdown of his full name, and this right here was the nail in the coffin, as they say. He's got 15 letters. Of course, that's the mirror of the 51, that's antimony, but the alchemical representation of his name is right here, and then we go over to the trusty calculator, and we add all of them up, and here's the outcome that we get, folks. 138.111. Let me just go back one. You see that right there, folks? 138. You see that right there, folks? Got to use your common sense. Notice on the feminine side, he's got the 111, which is linked to rhodogenium, the 111th element. That atomic weight is 280. Let me show you that one. That one's kind of important. So he has the 111 right here on his feminine side. That is 280. And then, you know, when you go here and you type in this word right there, you'll get the 280 minus the 0. So you can see that that's a very good possibility. But the 138's the standout, folks. And of course, I have all this stuff over here. You know, 138, 111. When we say that, we get the two outcomes of 241 in the English, 107 in the Chaldean. 241, of course, is the 53rd prime number. That's linked to the element iodine, as in, I am that I am. And then the 107 is tied to the element silver, the 47, which is the tetragrammaton. I mentioned the 47 right here. Here it is right there, which is linked to this element and this element, the mirror of one another. Just remember, folks, this has great significance. That right there, don't let that, you know, pass you by. I mean, this is it. How about his family, folks? What does that have to do with time travel? Well, notice here are his 5 children. His 5 beautiful people. Here are their names through numerology, folks. I mean, how do you explain this? How do you explain that? Here are their cards. Here are each one's birthday card. Here are their birthdays. And then these are the cards that they all have individually. They have more than one, but this is their primary one in the life spread. Cards of illumination. And when you say all of these, 8 spades, 9 clubs, 3 diamonds, 5 hearts, joker, we go up here to numerology and we say that. 8 spades, 9 clubs, 3 diamonds, 5 hearts, joker. The outcome is 182. And that's linked to the 74th element, tungsten. And remember what I said about the W. It was on the car. And it's linked to the crown. Remember, 74, I mean, that's pretty big because these two characters, I mean, they're both the light guys. I mean, this is the light bringer. And then this is the light of the world. So you can see it can be confusing, but nonetheless, we have matches here, folks. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, these kids, they have the 88 with their first names, and then they're tied to the 74th element. Tungsten is used to make light bulbs, illumination. And their cards all link up to that, which is tied to the crown. This is where it really gets interesting. And again, we're talking back to the future because it has everything to do with this. Here is the actual lineage of Trump and family. His beautiful family. His 2 ex-wives, his current wife, his kids, and then, you know, all their grandkids. But I'm talking about the direct lineages. When you take all their first names, folks, Donald, Marla, Ivana, Melania, Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, and Barron equals the number 159. And, you know, I mean, folks, what are the odds right here? You know, what are the odds that this guy and his entire family and exes become 159, which is the 66th element, which is a direct match to this guy's full birth name? Now, let's go a little step further. Dysprosium, through numerology, is the number 39. And I showed this with the Western Union, the Trenchcoat guy. 39 is yttrium. And yttrium's only weight, folks, is 88. So you tell me, is it possible that this guy's a time traveler? Here's where it gets really deep. Again, here's the first names of all of his family members and exes. 159. 159 is linked to the 66th element, dysprosium. Dysprosium is 39. 39 is a direct match with the word revelation. What does Revelation have to do with this? Well, it's the 66th book in the Bible, folks, which talks about the apocalypse and, the end of the ages. Revelation and dysprosium, they share that 39, which means they share the element yttrium, which means they share the number 88. Notice this is, how do you explain this, folks? How do you explain this? Trump is 66, his vice president, Michael Richard Pence, is 66, and then the current Pope is 66. These guys are main players on the world stage. This guy right here runs over 1 billion people. That's how many Catholics there are and Christians in this world that are all a sect of the Vatican. How do you explain that? And how do you explain this? And I have a character blowing a trumpet here, and there's a very good reason why I have that. In Revelation, where it talks about the trumpets being blown before, all the shit starts to hit the fan. That scripture in Revelation 8. Notice the number 8. Well, trumpets is a 36, which is a direct match with the element krypton, which is now linked to lizard and reptilian, and that's what it means. I just didn't add that in here because there's just so much I could add in. But follow the breadcrumbs. Trumpets, 36. It's an 8-letter word. Here are its alchemical elements tied to the letters and numbers. Go over to the trusty calculator. The outcome is 77.059. 77 and 59. Now look at this, folks. The 77th card in the deck of the tarot is the King of Pentacles. The 59th card is the 10 of Swords. So then we go over to its counterpart. The King of Pentacles becomes the King of Diamonds. And the 10 of Swords is the 10 of Spades. And when you take the 39th card and the 49th card, which is what these two cards are, and you add that up, this is what you're going to get right here. 88. How are you going to get that from that? Because the game of life, folks, is fixed. What about their last names? Because, that matches Trump. The trumpets are being blown. The trumpets are being blown. They're being blown. Remember, this guy is a 66. He's a 66. Let's talk about their last names. Equals the number 50. That's the element tin. That's the link to the 119 or the 911. That's linked to Krypton. That's linked to lizard and reptilian. And oh yeah, it goes that deep, folks. You ever seen the movie They Live in 1987? We're living it out right now, folks. Nonetheless, the 10 letters of these two guys' last names, they become, through the trusty calculator, the number 106.06. And there you have it, folks. When you say 106.06, it becomes the number 77. Which is right here, folks. Which is tied to right here. So you see, folks, there is no debating on this. Like, well, maybe you could fit that. Folks, trumpets, 66, 66. Revelation is the 66th book. And it's linked to time travel. This is my last slide. And I wanted to point out here, folks, It's this number right here. This is trumpets. The trumpets are being blown. That's why I have the little angel here blowing the trumpets. It's 106.06. And there it is. 106 is 47. 06 is 30. What about that 47? It's linked to this right here, folks. The ancient Israelite god, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the Tetragrammaton. And of course, that's what Washington, D.C. is linked to, and White House is linked to. They're both 47s. I don't know who sat down and chose these names and titles. Do you think they sat down with a numerology calculator and had to fit it in there to be exactly what they are right here? No way. No way. Not possible. It's too complicated for these people. The game of life is fixed. It's rigged. And that's just the way it is. I mean, look at these direct syncs here, folks. Tetragrammaton, it's a 14-letter word. Here are its alchemical elements, all 14 of them. And when you go over to the trusty calculator and you add them up, folks, you're going to get the number 99.127. 99 is the big standout. Why is the 99 big standout? Well, what was the name of the dog in Back to the Future? Do you remember the name of the dog? Yeah, Einstein. Why did they name him Einstein? Because the 99th element is Einsteinium. 99, Einsteinium, Einstein, Tetragrammaton. Remember, Einstein is a dog. And what is dog spelled backwards? Yeah, you guessed it. 99.127 becomes the number 90. And I'm just adding this on for flavor here, folks. The element thorium, the 90th element, is linked to this scenario right here. This is Thor battling the Midgard serpent. You know, Thor's the good guy, the serpent's the bad guy. It's good cop, bad cop. This is the personality, folks. The personality of this right here. That's why if you read the Old Testament, it says it's a jealous God, it's an angry God. And then you read the New Testament, it's all about love and brotherhood. Well, which is it? Which one are you? Now, I'm not debating anything beyond that. Like, is it perfect? Has it always been here? I don't know. But I do know that numbers speak truth. And then when you paint the picture and you understand that it has a dualistic nature, well, the story that's being created that they are using to control you or people, maybe not you anymore, but the story has been so fabricated and so changed. It's not even, it's whispered down the lane. It's not even true anymore. But nonetheless, folks, what is it that you saw? I mean, is this not undeniable? It's absolutely insane when you look at this stuff. I mean, it's the trumpets being blown. I mean, how do you define it any other way? And you notice the symbology here, folks. You see, it's the king, and the king's got to die. This is a card of death. Like, this is the finale. Like, finished, done, rock bottom. And it's the king of diamonds. And, you know, keep in mind, it's the 39th card. 39 is yttrium, and it has an atomic weight of 88. And we're talking about the trumpets being blown in Revelation, which is linked to the whole Trump family. And of course, Pence as well. And the Pope, they're all in on this. So what is it you saw, folks? I mean, you know, out of time. Yeah, well, are we getting to that point? You know? But what is it that you saw during this presentation? I think it's crystal clear, folks. I mean, come on. How do you explain this? I believe this guy's a time traveler. I believe he is trying to lie hidden, and I believe he is not what he makes himself out to be. But nonetheless, he is appointed to be at the end of these times where we go into this reset, because there's no other explanation for it. None. And if you know what this is, I mean, this is linked to Lucifer right here, folks. Lucifer through alchemy is 57. That's just the way it is. I mean, you got Diablos here, folks. You know, this guy made, if the game of life is fixed, this guy never had a chance. So what other meaning can we give it? You know, but this is obvious, this stuff they're doing here, folks. I mean, look at all these 88s. How do you explain these? It's clear. You know? So that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Thank you so very much for watching.